Chile.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Dear Diary, I never wrote a diary before. In fact, this is my very first time doing something like this. And maybe that's why it feels a little strange sitting here trying to put thoughts into words. But yesterday, I came home from a road trip. I can't seem to stop thinking about it. And somehow, it feels like the kind of experience worth writing down. Even now, sitting here with my morning coffee, part of me is still somewhere out on those roads. Still watching the landscape roll past the window. Still standing at the edge of the cliff. Still staring across a valley that seemed to stretch forever. The journey started before sunrise. The kind of a morning where the world feels half asleep. The roads were quiet. The city hadn't fully woken up yet. Streetlights still glowed against the darkness as we made our way out of Nairobi. For a while, nobody said much. We simply watched the city slowly disappear behind us. And as the first light began touching the horizon, I found myself wondering how many chapters of my life had started exactly this, quietly, without me realizing it at the time. Our first stop was the Naivasha viewpoint. Standing at the edge of the Rift Valley, I felt incredibly small. The valley stretched further than my eyes could follow, layer after layer disappearing into the distance. Looking out at the landscape, I couldn't help thinking about life, how often we worry about things we can't control, how often we convince ourselves that our problems are bigger than they really are. Standing there reminded me that the world is far bigger than my fears, and somehow that felt comforting. We continued through Nakuru. I watched the scenery change outside the window.
In the darkness, I could feel her thinking about somebody else. Some old secret she keeps hidden.
And I found myself thinking about how every person we pass is carrying a story we will never know. Dreams, struggles, regrets, hopes, entire worlds existing beyond our own. Travel has a way of reminding you that you are not the center of everything. And I think that's one of the reasons I love it.
Some old sweet melody about the life we lead.
There was one stop on this road trip that surprised me more than any viewpoint or valley. A castle not in England, not in Scotland, but right here in the Kenyan countryside, hidden among the rolling hills of Njoro near Nakuru. At first, it felt completely out of place, like someone had accidentally dropped a European castle into the middle of Africa. But the moment I walked through its doors, something interesting happened. Let me show you. Come along.
This is so amazing. This is so cool.
I realized this wasn't just a castle, it was a love story, a very interesting story, or maybe more accurately, a heartbreak story. The castle was built by a guy called Lord Egerton, a British aristocrat who moved to Kenya during the colonial era. And according to the story, most people know he fell deeply in love with a woman back in England, wanting to impress her. He built an extravagant home unlike anything Kenya had seen at the time. A grand castle with beautiful gardens, elegant rooms, imported materials, and one of the most impressive staircases in the country. Everything was designed with one hope that she would see it and say yes, but she didn't. Legend says she rejected his proposal not once but 3 times, and after the final rejection, something inside him changed. Instead of building a home for 2 people, he built a momentum to a dream that never happened. As I walked through the empty halls, I couldn't help wondering how many things in life we build around an idea and an expectation, a future we certain will happen, only to discover life had a different plan. Standing there, I realized the castle wasn't really about romance. It was about attachment, about how deeply we can hold on to a vision of what we think our life should look like, and how painful it feels when reality chooses another path. Yet somehow years later the castle still stands, and the love story didn't survive, but the lesson did. Maybe that's a life. Not every dream comes true, not every chapter unfolds the way we imagined, but sometimes the things that break our hearts leave behind stories that outlive us. And standing in the middle of Kenya, inside a castle, built from hope, disappointment, and resilience, I found myself thinking about my own life, the plans I held onto, the dreams that never happened, and the unexpected roads that eventually led me somewhere even more beautiful. Maybe the real story isn't about what we lose, maybe it is about who we become after letting go. As we continued driving, I couldn't stop thinking about the Lord Egerton and the castle he built for a future he imagined would happen. It made me wonder how many dreams, plans, and expectations we hold on to so tightly only for life to take us somewhere completely different. Just as I was lost in the thoughts, we stopped beside an endless field of sunflowers. I couldn't help but to walk toward this breathtaking field and just admire. And as I was standing there, I found myself smiling. It felt like a gentle reminder that life isn't always about the things that didn't happen. Sometimes it's about appreciating the unexpected beauty we discover along the way. A little later, we arrived at the Equator, one of those places you've heard about countless times but never fully appreciate until you are standing there yourself. As soon as we stepped out of the car, a few villagers welcomed us warmly and offered to show us something fascinating. Of course, we were curious. How often do you get the chance to stand in both the northern and the southern hemisphere at the same time? With a smile, one of the ladies began explaining the Equator.
My name's Anne Keter. You're highly welcome to the Equator. So I want to take you through a simple experiment about the Equator. So as you understand, Equator has into two, the north and the southern hemisphere. Or equator is an imaginary line running from east to west at 0 degrees. Now from this position, this is east, this is west, this is north, this is south. So the initial written down there N is north. The other side S is south. S is south, this side. Yes. And the white substance here is the line at the equator here. So
What is this one?
this is the line at the equator, the white substance here.
Ah, okay.
So the equator passes through this line.
Okay.
So you have to move some few meters to the north. You see what will happen, and I will explain more about it.
And she continued explaining how the equator is an invisible line that divides the earth into the northern and southern hemisphere. Then, with a simple demonstration using water, she showed us one of the fascinating ways people experience the equator. It was such a small moment, yet somehow incredibly exciting. There was something special about standing on that line that circles the entire planet. One foot in the north and another foot in the south. How fascinating is that? And for a brief moment, feeling connected to something much bigger than ourselves as we thanked her and continued our journey.
This was yes. We'll bring you more of visitors and stuff over. Asante, asante.
I couldn't help but think about how travel has a way of turning ordinary moments into unforgettable memories. As we left the equator and got back on the road, the sun slowly began to set. We spent the day exploring new places, learning new stories, and seeing parts of Kenya I had never seen before. As I watched the landscape pass by through the window, I found myself reflecting on the day. One thing I am learning on this journey is that it is often the moments between destinations that stay with you the most. The conversation, the unexpected stops, the people you meet along the way. This road trip is turning into more than just an adventure across Kenya. It's becoming a journey of finding myself again. One road, one experience, and one reflection at a time. As the sun disappeared beyond the horizon, day one came to an end. But little did I know, some of the most breathtaking roads, unforgettable views, and unexpected moments were still ahead of us. And trust me, the next day would take us somewhere I wasn't prepared for. Until next time, dear diary.